tonight's starting goaltenders are brought to you by Chevrolet. Carey Price gets the starting goal for Canada. He is 4-0 in this tournament, while Jeff Frazee gets the start for the U.S. He is 3-0 since taking over as the #1 man for the U.S., and he's not lost in an IHF competition going back to the under-18 tournament in 2005 when he won gold. The referee is Ulf Rundmark from Sweden. The linesmen are from Sweden and the Czech Republic. Cogliano, Marchand, and Downey start for Canada. It's Lewis, along with Patrick Kane and Kyle Oposo for the U.S. Downey and Jack Johnson are talking right off the opening faceoff.
Well, that's all set up by the Americans because Jack Johnson's going to challenge Downey. Jack Johnson plays left defense, not left wing.
Mark Stahl and Ryan Parent back on the point. They'll be out there against Patrick Kane as often as the Canadians can make it happen, but the United States has the last change. Jack Johnson.
Kenzie talked about Marchand, Cogliano, Downey. Marchand's got to stand up and deliver offensively in the second line. Not a better two-way player in this tournament than Jonathan Toews. On the third line, look for Helm to really bring a physical presence along with Bertram. And Gord, I'm expecting James Neal to have a big game for Team Canada. And they're going to be real critical guys here for Team Canada. Biggest thing Stahl's got to do is take Patrick Kane out of the game. Look for Bourdon to be in a big physical matchup against Peter Mueller. And the unsung tandem, Franson and Russell on the back end. They bring offense, a big power play presence, and they bring a lot of defensive reliability. And when he's got some players he really likes to go to, Patrick Kane, we talked about the star of the London Knights, Peter Mueller, first-round pick of Phoenix, and Eric Johnson, first overall by the St. Louis Blues.
Letang across the top for the Canadians on the power play for Andrew Cogliano. Cogliano for Letang. Shoots. Frazee makes the stop, and the rebound got away from Little. Cogliano. That went off the skate to Trevor Lewis. Away with Oposo shorthanded. Trevor Lewis working in. Centering pass. That's broken up by Cody Franson. Now O'Mara. Long lead pass for Chris Russell. In comes Russell. Shoots. Frazee makes the stop. And there's no rebound. Going to stick on him from behind. O'Mara for Pyatt. Back to O'Mara. Jam play at the side of that. Frazee down. They whack away at it. And Frazee holds his ground as Eric Johnson fires that down the ice. Oposo. Kyle Oposo. Back for Jack Johnson. Johnson through traffic. Price to save. Rebound. Cleared away by Stahl. Score in the first period. Canada and the U.S. Steve Downey wins that draw away from Peter Mueller. Chris Letang kicked it there. Mueller in front. Stoa stopped by Price. Loose puck in front. Carey Price pounds on that. Gerby taken now by Letang. And now pushing and shoving, breaking out in the crease of Canadian netminder Carey Price.
Well, because Gerby goes in and takes an extra whack at it. But this is good job by Team Canada in terms of winning the faceoff. But once you win the draw, you have to know where to go with the puck. Downey beats Mueller clean. Canada doesn't know where to go with the draw because Gerby does a good job tying up on Letang. And then you get them all whacking and way down low, and there's Gerby with the extra shots, and Letang puts him down.
Gerby goes off along with Letang, offsetting minor penalties. Kane drops it back. Mueller quarterback in this power play from the back end. Here's Eric Johnson. Back for Mueller. Oposo's in front. Johnson fires. Carey Price got a pat on that. Back it goes to Eric Johnson. Johnson back in front, fires. Price kicks that out as well. Foot race for it. Parent reaching, can't get it out. And Oposo plays it across for Mueller. Sends it across, Kane. Patrick Kane setting it up. Back for Mueller, fires, and it's off the arm of Carey Price down to Kane. Stahl bumping with Kane. Oposo falls. Mueller back at the line. Peter Mueller back for Eric Johnson. Johnson waits, shoots, Price to stop. Rebound, Price another save, and he clears the rebound. Gerby and Letang are back on the ice. It's 5-on-4 for a minute 10.
He was a rookie with Tri-City. He was the MVP of the team. The second year he was the MVP of the team, and you see why. He just looks so big and so comfortable in pressurized situations, fighting off that shot by Eric Johnson with the big screen of Kyle Oposo. That's big-time goaltending, Gord, and that's one of the reasons why Canada is undefeated so far in this tournament. He's got 2 shutouts. You never would have thought Carey Price could deliver like this, but what Carey Price is doing is he's become much more fundamentally sound and more mature as a man. He's so receptive to coaching, and that's why he looks so much bigger. He is big at 6'2", 217. But he looks a lot bigger in goal, Gord, because he's so fundamentally ready.
The box is Jonathan Toews. Bertram comes in along with Downey. And Bertram plays that in deep. And Downey, huge collision there with Jack Johnson. A Richter-scale collision behind the American goal. In comes Gerby. Nate Gerby in, shoots, and Carey Price makes a terrific stop. End-to-end action here in Lexan. Still no score. For Russell, for Franson. Almost lost the handle. Now Cogliano rips it across for Russell. Shoots. Blocked in front by Bill Sweat. Downey. Sets it down low. Little. Back for Downey. Little. Walking off the boards for Downey. Jam puck before Little can get to it.
Good composure by the Canadian players with the puck in the perimeter, and Frazee does a nice job in goaling the puck. They're trying to break down Eric Johnson, create a 2-on-1, and then Downey walks out, and Frazee doesn't allow the second chance to Cogliano or Little. They're trying to create the 2-on-1 on number 6 in blue, and they do a mini little 2-on-1, but they just can't get it by Frazee.
Across for Franson. Back to Chris Russell. For Little. Shoots. Frazee makes the stop and steers that behind the goal. Downey battles for it. It gets away from Cogliano. Franson steps up. Justin Abdelkader taken down. Kept in by Cogliano. Cogliano shoots. Frazee the save. Rebound. Downey can't get to it. Puck still loose at the side of the goal. Here's Downey. Up for Helm. To Cleach. Cleach shoots off a stick, and Jack Johnson hammered Cleach down.
Heads up.
Kane just got clipped by Dan Bertram. In comes Oposo. Kyle Oposo in front. And Terry Price makes the stop. Rebound. Trevor Lewis gets a shot away, but as he does, Kyle Oposo goes barreling into Canadian netminder Carey Price.
This is a slick piece of goaltending by Carey Price. And Bob McKenzie talked about Kyle Oposo and how he hasn't been great in this tournament for the Americans, but here's a display of his skill. Kane just misses getting clobbered by Bertram, but here's his skill level. Oposo around Letang, driving hard to the net. Carey Price staying with Kyle Oposo. This is, again, Carey Price not guessing, being strong on the shooter. That's a good job. And the reason he can be strong on the shooter, Gord, is the fact he trusts his defenseman.
For the under-18 here in Sweden last spring. Here comes Bill Sweat in full stride. Sweat working in backhand shot. Price makes the save. Just another close game in the medal round between Canada and the United States. And their first meeting in the medal round since 2004 in Helsinki. Around Downey, here's Mueller. Peter Mueller shoots. Carey Price with the glove save. Cogliano racing with Kane for that loose puck. Mark Stahl gets to it. And Stahl whips that ahead for Downey. Downey through the middle for Cogliano. Andrew Cogliano bearing in. Frazee jumped on it. A quick whistle as Jeff Frazee bobbled that puck and had Cogliano bearing down on him.
Cogliano not happy with his teammate at Michigan, Jack Johnson.
Two Americans behind the goal. Here's Kane in front. Great chance. Whipped wide by Gerby. Patrick Kane with it. Kane still with it. Lost the puck at his feet. Here comes Canada shorthanded. Helm with Cleach. Darren Helm working in. Helm backhand. Stopped by Frazee. Great shorthanded chance by Darren Helm, and Jeff Frazee makes the stop.
Last time USA and Canada played together, Helm had 2 goals against the Americans. One of them was because of a foot race against Eric Johnson. Kane gets 2 cute. Helm makes the read. There's a quick explosive speeder. The Medicine Hat Tiger driving wide around Eric Johnson, and he just can't finish the play off on Frazee. Good job by Cleese looking for the second chance opportunity. That's how great Darren Helm can be, Gord. That little burst of speed around Eric Johnson's not an easy thing to do.
Line for Cogliano. In comes Cogliano with Downey. Andrew Cogliano in front. No one there for Canada. And back the other way comes Jack Skilly for the U.S. Skilly breaks it across the Canadian line. Fires, and Price knocks that way up in the air. Neal able to chip that out as Blake Jeffrey took a run at him.
Oh, that's a cheap shot right there.
Neal got nailed down.
That's a cheap shot right there.
Abdelkader took him down at center ice.
Yep.
Alf Runmark saw it. And with 8 seconds to go in the first period, Canada will go to the power play.
James Neal's coming off a bad groin situation. Didn't play in Canada's last game against Slovakia. He puts the puck in. Abdelkader goes for the low shot. That's just a cheap shot right there. He's trying to be physical. If he stands up rather than go down, then it's okay. But he goes down and goes for a low bridge.
Lost the draw to Peter Mueller. And Jack Johnson sends that to the line. Cody Franson had his shot knocked down, and time expires. After 20 minutes, Canada will have 1 minute and 53 seconds of power play time to start the second. No score through 1 in the semifinals of the World Junior Hockey Championship. Cleach, Trevor Lewis, tapped it down, but it's knocked right out by Ryan Perrin. Darren Helm. Checking on Eric Johnson, and Helm comes up with the puck, playing that in front. Dan Bertram waits, shoots off the side of it, comes the other side. Darren Helm jams out of the net. Back on in front it goes. Mark Stahl waits, shoots, shot blocked. 3 Americans sprawled to block that shot by Mark Stahl. Steps into him. Now Cogliano back for Stahl. Stahl's been out there a while. Oposo trying to take it away from him. Stahl had that taken away. Eric Johnson plays it off the hand of Oposo. In comes the U.S. Oposo with Mueller. Kyle Oposo, poke check from behind by Mark Stahl. Cogliano comes racing in for Downey. Back in front, Marchand. Backhand pass for Cogliano. Couldn't get to it.
Too cute. Got to finish plays off hard.
Ryan Littleton for the faceoff. Applicator wins it for the U.S. and a penalty coming up to Canada. Sam Gagner. We got the stick in, and the U.S. is about to go to the power play as Sam Gagner goes off.
Don't say anything, son. Just get in the box.
And the United States will go to its third power play of the hockey game.
You know, when we talked about faceoffs being a factor, Team Canada loses his faceoff. Sam Gagner trying to pursue off the lost faceoff. He gets a stick in there. I know it's marginal for people back in Canada watching this, but you have to know they're going to call that all the time. Anytime the stick is on the hip or in the back or close to the upper body, they're going to call it all the time.
Johnson waits, plays it across for Patrick Kane. And Kane works his way and fires. That goes off the arm of Gary Price. Now Chorney with it. And Chorney walks in, shoots, back for a pass, score! Nate Gerby makes it 1-0 U.S.
This is a big league goal. And Taylor Chorney, a second-round pick of the Edmonton Oilers, just snaps it off to Gerby right through the penalty-killing box of Team Canada. You see what happens. There's no sticks on the ice, so that opens up the whole passing seam. Skilly does a good job in the slot, but he rotates down. That brings Perrin over, and Stahl's a little slow reacting to the good, but it's a way Chorney whips that puck right across. Stahl's too slow coming over because of how quick that puck made the transition from Chorney's stick to Gerby's stick, but that's a big league power play goal by Team USA.
Nate Gerby's first goal of this World Junior Hockey Championship, and Canada trails for the first time in the tournament. Goes to Jack Skilly, up for Blake Jeffrey on Mark Stahl. Jeffrey on, plays it back, Applicator steaming in, just an Applicator fires, Carey Price makes the stop. Letang, across for Luc Bourdon. Bourdon to Letang. His shot blocked in front, he's down. Back for pass, oh, stopped by Frazee. Brian Little robbed by Jeff Frazee. And back comes Jeff.
Canada does a good job. Letang puts a puck on goal. Downey whips it across. It gets deflected right onto the stick of Little. And what a reaction by Frazee, going from his left to his right. That's very impressive. Goes off Stahl's foot.
Now Stahl fires, and Frazee will hang on to that. Jonathan Toews wearing the mic.
Skate, skate! Chip, chip! Yeah! That was a bad call.
Always bad calls.
For Marchand to Cogliano. Back to France and fires. The flash goes just wide. Marchand looks for it. Still sweat battling, and it's knocked out.
And this is what you like. Franson moving into that seam, and he just blasts it right by the left goalpost. That's a much better job by Canada trying to take advantage of their power play opportunities.
And Tom Pyatt with it. Banking it ahead for Toews. And icing the call as Toews can't get there in time.
Well, Jonathan Toews had a monster game against Team USA the first time out. 6-3 win by Canada on the power play. Cody Franson launched one on goal. Jonathan Toews shows some skill. Then later on, Eric Johnson threw a stick. That gave Jonathan Toews a penalty shot opportunity. He grouped it right by Jeff Zatkoff, the goaltender for Team USA.
On the face, Johnson now walks back to the middle, fires through traffic. Save made by Price. Price fell, couldn't clear it up. Chorney fires off the side of the net. And back on the ice. Kane for Gerby, shoots, pinballs in front, goes into the corner. Cogliano gathers it up. Under 5 to go here in the second period. Ryan O'Mara. Long pass for Downey. In with Cogliano. 2-on-1. Downey in, shoots, and he put it wide. Frazee might have got a piece.
Penalty coming to the Americans.
And reaching up for it is Bill Sweat. Canada goes to the power play when we come back to Lakeside.
Gets a 2-on-1 through the neutral zone. Driving wide, Andrew Cogliano, Steve Downey. Brian Lee took a penalty in the neutral zone on Tommy Pyatt, and he's in the box for interference.
Back for Bourdon. To Letang. Letang walks in. Chris Letang backhands it in front. Downey waits, plays that just wide. Deep dip. Pyatt comes walking in. Down low for Ryan O'Mara. For Toews. Toews shoots, just misses near side. In the corner, Jack Skilly sends that in front. Jack Johnson plays it across. Jeffrey on. Down low, back in front. Jeffrey on taking a shot. Applicator shoots, blocked in front. And the puck cleared down by the Canadians.
Haven't been good, and they haven't really been playing as a team. A good distributor.
Off the face-off, Nate Gerby with a quick shot. This is Chris Letang. Up for Tom Pyatt. Pyatt being harassed by Stoll. Sends it in deep. Crazy out to play it. And gets it to Jack Johnson. To the line, not out. Letang battling for it. Final second in the period. Letang for Pyatt. Long drive, knocked down in front. So Taylor Chorney, the American captain, has the only goal so far. The United States with a 1-0 lead through 2 periods, and this the first of 2 semifinals of the 2007 World Junior Hockey Championship. Into the corner, Marchand reaching for it. Cogliano for Marchand. Cogliano with the puck. Going to walk out in front. Hooked there by Trevor Lewis. Back in front. Downey put that wide.
But that's more what
Downey.
That's what Canada needs. Strong on the wall, forecheck, pressure, turnovers.
Oposo away with Lewis and Patrick Kane. 3-on-2 for the U.S. Oposo across the line. Fires high and wide. Make the puck very dangerous. Oposo taken down by Parent. No penalty coming up. Here's Oposo in the corner. Oposo back in front. Abdelkader tipped it wide. Price down. Puck still loose. Patrick Kane. Russell with it. Sets it up. Winds and fires. Shot blocked in front again. Kyle Lawson got in the way of that. The Americans blocking shots by the handful. Toews goes down that clearing attempt. Toews shoots. Crazy makes the stop. A bullet shot from Jonathan Toews. And back to pick it up is Brian Little for Russell. Up ahead for Helm. Steaming in. Darren Helm shoots. Crazy the save. Helm goes battling for the rebound. Through the middle. Cleach chips that down. Crazy had trouble with it. Gives it right away to Little. Fires. Save made by Crazy. Little taken down. Penalty coming up to the U.S. Back at the line. It bounces by Stahl right down to the Canadian goal. And Stahl has to hustle back. That just missed by a couple of feet. And now Stahl gets back. Puck has still not been touched by the United States. That was close. Parent off the stick of Stoa, and finally Brian Lee touched it. Canada to the power play when we come back. He's got Carmen watching him. Cogliano with it. Andrew Cogliano back for Franson. Has time. Again, Carmen's throw. Plays it down to Russell. Shoots at the puck wide. Franson along to Cogliano. Laying it down to Russell. Fires to the front. Downey trying to get a tip. That goes wide. Marchand. Back he goes to Russell. Russell shoots, just misses. 30 seconds to go in the power play, and the puck comes all the way out. Canada looks for a change, and Downey goes on. In comes Tom Pyatt, racing in his Pyatt. Shoots, Crazy makes the glove stop with Jonathan Toews standing there looking for the rebound. Nora in the quarterfinal. Canada's been off since Sunday. Bourdon in front, that deflects just wide. Back to Letang, final second of the power play. Toews back to Bourdon, shoots, and Crazy makes the glove stop. And Crazy comes across with the glove again for Alsner. Alsner spun away from Stoa, and back for Russell. Downey back out there with Cogliano and Marchand.
Penalty coming to USA.
And down is Downey right in front of the penalty box. And it's going to be Mike Carmen going off for the United States.
So why would they blow the whistle? Just because Downey was down, I guess, for protective
Downey
reasons.
was injured.
Happens in the neutral zone. Downey moves a puck, and then he gets hit. Oh, blow to the head. Carmen comes up and hits Downey in the head.
And the reason the whistle was blown was that Downey was down on the ice. So off goes Mike Carmen. Canada 0 for 7 on the power play in the hockey game. 7 shots on goal, and I would venture to say, Pierre, that the United States has 3 times that many blocks on the Canadian power play.
It's been standard operating procedure for the Americans. That's really been their big penalty killing scheme. Get in the shooting avenue, block shots. They've been only giving up 4 power play goals this whole tournament, Gordon. A major reason why is not so much the goaltending. They just block a ton of shots.
Blake Jeffrey on one that draw. The Americans trying to drop it there for Letang. Eric Johnson at the line, kept in by Gagne. Back in front, tipped off the goal post by Downey.
Taylor Chorney just got away with a cross-check to the back of Steve Downey.
The book on this Canadian team coming into the tournament was that it might be goal challenged, and it has been in the semifinal against the U.S. And that puck goes up into the
Jeffrey's going to get a penalty for interference in the neutral zone. Canada's going to have 29 seconds of 5-on-3. And the referee, Ulf Rundmark, knows he missed the Chorney cross-check on Downey. And you'll see it. He's looking right at it. The puck comes in. Downey's in all alone. Gagne does a good job controlling the puck. Americans can't get it out. Keep it in. Put it on puck. Now watch how the cross-check to the back of Downey. He misses that. Then in the neutral zone, Blake Jeffrey steps up on Downey. They call that interference, but he knows he missed the cross-check earlier on that sequence.
Penalty. Russell to Letang. Back for Russell. Down low, Downey. Walks in, fires. Crazy makes the save. Cogliano was looking for the pass back door. Downey falls. Russell sets it up. Carmen out of the box. Russell shoots. Blocked in front. Loose puck. Bounce behind Little. And racing towards Fraser to send it down.
Americans are doing a real good job taking away the shooting avenue from the point.
In comes Russell. Banks it down for Jonathan Toews. Has time. Plays it across Russell. Back to Bourdon. Fire, scores! Luke Bourdon ties it for Canada.
And why that shot's not blocked, it's a one-timer. And they're not happy. They think a Canadian player was in the crease, but they're going to still count this goal. It's a one-timer. If you one-time the puck, as Canada should have done earlier and more often, you're going to get pucks through when teams try to let in the lane and shoot. Stoic can't react quick enough. Stoic's too slow getting over. Nobody's in the crease. Sam Gagner is battling down low. He's not in the crease. That's a good goal. And Frazier's upset. But that's what you have to do, and that's the adjustment Canada had to make. More one-timers so the Americans couldn't get in the lane. That's the reaction you want. Now Canada has to be smart, though. Don't take the penalty. Keep dictating the turns, getting pucks in deep. You'll force the Americans, who are a fatigued team, to take a penalty. Chorney's coming over to talk to Runmark, saying they interfered with Frazee. You watch that again, and you be honest. Nobody touches Frazee. Nobody's in the crease. That's a good goal by Bourdon. Good desperation by Canada.
8th power play of the game finally brings a goal for Canada, and it's 1-1. With 7:40 to go here in the third period. Canada with new life. Darren Helm comes barreling in. Fires. Frazee makes the stop, and he'll pounce on the rebound. Every shift now a knee knocker in a 1-1 game in the third period. Jack Skilly. Back to the line he goes. Chorney fires just off the side of the net. Back in front, Jack Skilly picks it up. Bertram. Helm left it there. Zimmerman in a foot race with Marc-Andre Cliche. Cliche for Helm. Battling with Mueller. Helm. Still battling in the corner. Helm falls. Still with it. Darren Helm in front. Taken down. No penalty coming. Lee's lost his stick. Back to the line it goes. Whipped across to Letang. Letang works his way in. Letang shoots. He puts it high.
Here's why we're tied up. It's a power play situation for Canada. It's a good job by Chris Russell, the one-timer by Luke Bourdon, flat as a pancake, so he can tee it over the shoulder of Jeff Frazee with the screen from Sam Gagner.
We're going to get sent to the United States too. Toews got knocked away. Chorney knocked that in front, and Peter Mueller whips that out of harm's way. Icing waved off as Parent goes back. Ryan Stoa watching him. Taps it back for Stahl. Final seconds of the third, and Canada and the United States are going to overtime in the semifinals of the World Junior Hockey Championship. And we'll be back with the extra period and maybe even a shootout right after this. Plays it back out to center ice. And Skilly with it. Cogliano and Downey are the Canadian forwards. In comes Carmen. Mike Carmen on Luke Bourdon. Poke checked him neatly.
Not today.
And Downey with it. Lots of open ice. Downey trying to get around Kyle Oposo. In comes Downey with Cogliano. Downey across the line. They call an offside on Cogliano. This is Tom Pyatt for Canada. In comes Oposo. Kyle Oposo fires. Carey Price gets a pat on that. Down it goes to Lewis. Lewis lost the puck to Mark Stahl. Stahl barreling away. 3-on-2 for Canada. In comes Stahl. Sets it in front. O'Mara shoots. Hit the near side of the net. O'Mara back to the line. Chris Letang comes stepping up. Stahl making his way off. Letang fires it wide of the goal. Back out the other way it comes. A race for it. Oposo lost that race to Ryan O'Mara. 6 minutes remaining in the overtime. Jack Johnson with it. In comes Jack Johnson across the line. Working on Letang. Johnson lays it back for Mueller. Has time. Fires. Price makes a save. Loose puck. Kirby bats at it. Still loose, and the puck did not cross the line. And a traffic jam in front of Carey Price. Helm was poke check. Price has lost his goal stick. Price does have a goal stick. Mueller ahead for Jack Johnson. Across the line is Jack Johnson.
Oh no. Penalty to Letang. Got a high stick on Johnson.
Johnson cut. And now the United States will go to the power play in overtime in the semifinal.
Letang, it's a simple one-on-one situation. He has to avoid the goal stick of Carey Price. And he tries to avoid it, but his stick comes up. He's in a one-on-one. He knows who came up with his stick. He's trying to avoid the goal stick, so the stick comes up just a little bit. And there's the call. And it's a tough play for Letang. He knows the goal stick's there. He doesn't want to hit it, and the stick comes up.
Ron Ralston calls timeout at the American bench. This will be a 4-on-3 power play. The Americans had one in the first period and had 3 tremendous chances. And there's Phil Housley, the longtime NHL player, and a guy who knows a thing or two about a power play, drawing it out.
He did the very same thing before the Americans scored against Sweden.
Crisscrossing with Eric Johnson. Mueller across to Eric Johnson. Now Johnson to the middle. Being watched by Toews. Down low for Kane. Back to Mueller. Mueller waits. Now down for Kane. Kane works his way in. Back down for Eric Johnson. He's got time. Johnson looking in front for Oposo. Johnson walks back in front. Back for Mueller. To Kane. No shot yet. Now Mueller fires. That was blocked by Jonathan Toews. Kane walking in. Plays it down for Eric Johnson. Decides not to shoot. Back in front off the leg of Perrin. Eric Johnson with it. Back in front. Johnson shoots off a leg, and Carey Price got a piece of it.
With his own man, Oposo.
Peter Mueller with it. Great pressure for the U.S. Under a minute to go in the power play. Mueller works his way in. Mueller still with it. Back for Eric Johnson. Fires. That goes wide. Mueller back at the line now. 45 seconds in the power play. Mueller. Johnson shoots. Didn't get all of it. Canada racing for it. Perrin to the line and out. Peter Mueller for Eric Johnson. 30 seconds in the power play. Mueller across to Johnson. Waits, shoots, tries to save. Rebound. Oposo had it taken away by Pyatt. Back in front. Johnson waits, shoots. What a stop by Price. Perrin with it. With the backhand. Can't get it out. Eric Johnson. Final seconds of the power play. Johnson works his way in. Plays it across for Mueller. Now Mueller across to Johnson. Eric Johnson shoots. Price makes the stop.
Perrin's out of gas. That's why he can't get the puck out.
Letang out of the box. Eric Johnson shoots back goal deep for Kane. He knocked it wide. Now Pyatt. U.S. is changing. On comes Pyatt on Eric Johnson. Pyatt shoots. That's off a stick over the glass and out of play. And that was 2 of the grittiest minutes you will ever see.
Ryan Perrin's going to need an oxygen tent over there. He was on the full 2 minutes. But it's Carey Price staying with it. Eric Johnson coming over. Carey Price shuffling along the ice. And then Eric Johnson with a quick release. And that's why Perrin couldn't get the puck out. He was on the full 2 minutes of that kill because he was a right defenseman.
Jack Johnson through the middle for Lewis. Trevor Lewis with Nate Gerby. In comes Lewis. Fires. Just missed on the far side. Jack Johnson. Johnson trying to bank it there for Mueller. Poke check by Letang. In comes Toews with Pyatt. Tom Pyatt across the line. In comes Pyatt. Pyatt shoots. Straight to the save. Rebound. Cleared away by Eric Johnson. Under a minute to go in overtime. Letang fires. Straight to the save. Loose puck in front, and Pyatt can't get there.
Tommy Pyatt's got some live legs coming off. He takes a relay from Jonathan Toews in the neutral zone, and he drives wide with speed, trying to work on Taylor Chorney. He puts one on Frazee. Frazee a little weak, bad clear. Another second chance for Letang. He puts it on goal, but Frazee freezes it up.
Chris Russell hustles back. Taps it there for Andrew Cogliano. And Cogliano comes racing ahead. Cogliano trying to get around Chorney. Can't. 30 seconds to go in the overtime. Trevor Lewis plays it ahead for Patrick Kane off the bench. Kane for Jack Johnson. Johnson shoots, and save made by Carey Price.
Got to be careful when you go for a skate at this time of the game. Andrew Cogliano goes for a bit of a skate. The Canadian players are a little bit tired. That gives open access to the Americans into the zone. See Cogliano coming late. Carey Price coming up with another glove save off Jack Johnson.
Face off to the right of Carey Price. It'll be Marc-Andre Cliche to take the draw against Peter Mueller. Mueller wins it. Oposo back at the line. Jack Johnson shot blocked by Darren Helm. And Helm away with Cliche. Darren Helm in across the line. But tangled up with Cliche. Jack Johnson backhands it out. Racing forward is Oposo. Taken away by Cliche. 5 seconds in the overtime. In comes Cliche. Cliche back in front. Taken away by Mueller. And this semifinal game is going to a shootout as Canada and the United States author another classic at the World Junior Hockey Championship.
The Americans, Letang and Taylor Chorney right now talking to the official Ulf Rundmark from Sweden.
It'll be a coin toss. Normally the home team would go second, but they'll call it. So Letang called it. Canada wins the toss, and we'll see what the decision was, and then we'll see who the shooters are. And Canada's reign as the back-to-back World Junior Champions rests on this shootout.
Frazee's going to be in first. Canada will shoot first. and all the shots will be at one end.
It'll be Downey for Canada. It is compelling drama. And Canada's been in more than a few of these in international hockey over the years. Steve Downey from Queensville, Ontario, the first shooter for Canada. And away we go in the shootout. Steve Downey on Frazee. Downey. Poke check by Frazee.
Comes in, makes a move. Hard to tell from there.
First shooter for the U.S. is Patrick Kane, the 18-year-old.
He didn't throw a stick.
Chance to give the Americans the lead. Kane in on Price. Kane stopped by Carey Price.
Price's game that's improved so much, staying with shooters and then stretching out and making himself look big. And
he was third in OHL scoring when he left for the Canadian camp. And Little comes steaming in. Shoots, scores! And Little leaps into the Canadian bench.
And Mueller will shoot for the Americans. Comes screaming in with some speed and just snaps it low glove side. Ooh, Darren Helm happy with that one.
In comes Mueller for the United States. Mueller with a chance to tie it. Mueller in scores. 1-1. Going into the third round.
Jonathan Toews will shoot for Team Canada. He scored on a penalty shot against the Americans in the last game. Mueller comes in, just goes high glove on Carey Price.
Now Toews with a chance to put Canada ahead again. And in comes Toews. Toews shoots, scores! And now Canada can win it.
Winnipeg, Manitoba, be proud of Jonathan Toews. Chicago Blackhawk fans get real excited about Jonathan Toews. Two situations against the Americans like that, twice he scored in big moments.
Jack Johnson will shoot for the United States, trying to keep his team alive. In comes Johnson on Carey Price. Johnson scores! And the shootout continues. Now round 4.
His future is so bright, Los Angeles Kings.
Now Little will shoot again for Canada. And you can use anyone you want after the first 3. Little scored 2 shots ago to give Canada the lead. Coming in again on Jeff Frazee. In comes Little. Poke check by Frazee. And now the Americans
comes out so Little knows he's going to have to make a move, and there's the active stick. That's good goaltending. Very good goaltending by Frazee.
And now Kane can win it for the United States. Patrick Kane in on Price. Kane shoots, stopped by Price, and the puck is just on the line. Oh, Carey Price just kept it out. And the Americans wanted to go to video review.
No, it's not good.
Toews will shoot again for Canada. Toews to give Canada the lead. Here comes Toews. Shoots, scores!
That is a major league kabam. What a goal by Jonathan Toews. There's no room for error. He does this against Zach Kopp. There's no room for error on that shot. That's off the niche and in.
Now Price will face Mueller. Canada's second chance to win it in the shootout. And in comes Mueller on Carey Price. Mueller makes scores. And Mueller once again staves off elimination for the U.S.
Mike Barnett and Wayne Gretzky are watching this in Phoenix, and they're saying, can we get this guy in the lineup? What a shot that is.
Cogliano will shoot next for Canada. It's round 6. Cogliano, in on crazy score! And Cogliano does the leap.
Just getting like Lambeau Field. This guy's scoring, hop right into the bench. And that's the second time Team Canada's beaten Frazee that low glove side. You saw Little do it, and then Cogliano.
Jack Johnson saved the Americans in round 3. In he comes again. Jack Johnson on Price, scores! On to round 7 we go. And it'll be Toews again for Canada.
Wow. It's a release. It's just a release point. You just see the guys that are NHL ready, and there's a guy that's NHL ready.
Toews is 2 for 2 in the shootout. In he comes again. Makes the move, scores! This guy is unbelievable.
Yes, he is.
Canada has has scored 5 times on 7 attempts, but the shootout continues. And the Americans are going back to Mueller. He's 2 for 2.
He's going to get arm weary.
3 times the Americans have faced elimination. 3 times they've scored.
3 times Toews has used a different move.
In comes Mueller on Price. Peter Mueller in. Stopped by Price. Canada's going to the gold medal game at the World Junior Hockey Championship.
Price stays with Mueller. Mueller tries to go 5-0. The 2 times the Americans try to go 5-0 on Carey Price, he closed it right down. Wow. Don't forget the American courage, but remember the Canadian penalty killed Bourdon in the overtime period. It was gigantic, led by Carey Price. The Americans outshot the Canadians in overtime 12-2.
Carey Price, the player of the game for Canada. Who else? Anaheim Lake, BC is where he grew up. Williams Lake is also his hometown.
Those plane rides were worth it. His dad, Jerry, used to fly him by their own plane down to practice.
He lost the under-18 gold medal game to this man, Jeff Frazee. And Frazee, who came in as the American starter in Game 3, was tremendous for the United States.
There wasn't one player that played for their respective countries today that took a day off.